Okay, Mom. Now, if I try to get out a, uh, a microphone this time and be fancy about this, stop me, okay? Because it didn't work out last time. Okay, Mimi, I'm sorry we have to do this again, but hopefully the sound will come out better this time. So you wrote some things down.
Yes.
All right. You want us to just start with that?
Okay. Is it on there about
No, you gotta
start in the
start at the
beginning?
beginning.
Okay. I was born in 1920 in Auburn, Pennsylvania. Um, and when I was a year old, my parents moved to Rapid City, South Dakota. They didn't know anyone there, and why they moved there, I don't really know. That was quite an undertaking because my father was not um, gifted in any kind of special work. Never went to college, never went to high school. So,
So he wasn't going out there for a job or anything,
yes, well, they were going out there to live.
but he
And
didn't have any
he
particular
didn't have a
work.
job, no.
Yeah, I see.
And my mother used to take in laundry and did a doctor's laundry and helped too with the household expenses. Um, when I was about 12 or 13 years old, my family moved back to Pennsylvania and lived there until I was married. Um, my father, um my father used to drink a lot. When he wasn't drinking, he was a great man. But when he drank, he was very bad. He abused my mother, was always good to the children, and used to tell my mother this house he was building for his children, so they wouldn't have to be ashamed to bring their friends home, that he was not building it for her, my mother, but for the children.
And where was that?
That was in Rapid City.
It was.
He built a house. He and my mother built this house from scratch.
Hmm.
Anyhow, moved back to Pennsylvania, and my father, um, as I said, when he was drinking, it was bad. And we hated to see him go down to the hotel there in Charlottesville. Um, Usually when it was full moon, and that is serious. I mean, I'm serious. Full moon was when my father would start drinking. Anyhow, I went to high school, and you didn't
Now
have
you
to.
moved back from
We-
Rapid
We
City,
moved to near Charlottesville.
and how old were you when you moved back?
I said 13.
Okay, I think,
Yeah.
sorry. 13,
I was about 13, yeah.
all right. And so what grade does that make? I don't know.
I don't know. But anyhow, in those days, you did not have to go to high school if you didn't want to, but I wanted to desperately. So I used to work at Lesher's Hotel down in the corner, earned 15 cents an hour, and paid for my bus fare, $3 a month, and my books and everything else. So anyhow, I met Daddy when I was about 14. May and my friend May was my best friend. And we went up to her aunt and uncle's for a weekend, up to Pottsville, Pennsylvania. In those days, you didn't have to, um, you rarely went outside of your area. Now, Pottsville was only about 20 miles away, but I had never been to Pottsville in my life.
Is that right?
Yeah. And Reading was about 20 miles the other way, and I used to go to Reading quite a bit with my uncle, Jimmy. But when I was 14, May and I went up to her aunt and uncle, and we went to the Saturday night dance. And Daddy was back from the sea. He was in the Merchant Marines. And that's the first time I met him. And I was smitten, but hard. 14. um, Anyhow, he had just come back from a tour of duty in Spain when they had the Civil War. And he was in a lot of bombings and shellings and so forth.
Which Civil War are you talking about?
Spain's Civil War.
Spain Civil War. Okay.
Yes. We went with one another for 5 years. And he asked me to marry him so many times, and I kept saying, no, no, no. I don't want to ever get married. And he'd say, why not? And I'd say, because there's only ever one family I know of that was happy, seemed happy, and I don't want to get into that. And he said,